What is life like on the ground? Joining me from Lviv is Maria Tomak, head of the Crimea Platform Department at the mission of the President of Ukraine. Maria, thank you so much for finding the time to join us. Just tell us what life is like on the ground for you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here. And actually, I can tell you only about Lviv, where I'm now. Lviv is the city in the western part of Ukraine. Actually, war caught me here together with my colleagues. We had some events here, and unfortunately, we did not manage, as of now at least, to go back home to Kyiv. So we're now here, where it's comparatively safe. But still, it's safe here, but you can feel that the war is ongoing in this country everywhere, because Lviv now, it's kind of huge base for military aid and kind of safe haven for dozens and hundreds of IDPs, internally displaced persons in Ukraine, for those people who are seeking for a more safe place. And I should say that the people in Lviv here in this city are open the doors of their houses, of their flats, of various institutions here in order to make these people from other parts of country feel safe. So that's the atmosphere here. And of course, many people are terrified by this war. Although I have to say that the war is ongoing in Ukraine, and it's like for 8 years as of now. So it's not something that started actually 4 days ago. But of course, it was not so large scale. Currently, we have the war effectively on most of the country, the territory of Ukraine.
How worried are you, your friends, your family that you could have to leave your country?
I'm not going to leave Ukraine. So, with one exception, if all the parts of my country will be occupied by Russia, and that will create a threat for my life, since I'm very openly pro-Ukrainian, pro-European, pro-NATO, and we've been working jointly with my colleagues on the problems with human rights abuses in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine for this previous 8 years. So basically, the Russian occupation will create the threat for my life, direct threat. But otherwise, I will not flee my country. I can tell this for sure. And also, for me, it's a very much personal story, of course, because my sister, she's in Kyiv now, and she decided not to flee from Kyiv, and she's pregnant. And it's awful, believe me, when I wake up and go asleep with my thoughts about my family, which suffers because she's in the basement like day and night, hiding from the shellings and from the rockets from the side of the Russian army.
My goodness. What do you want from the West? What do you want us to do? Are we doing enough?
First of all, I would like to thank, in particular, to Great Britain for this huge support that is provided by the government, by the society as well, by the media, attention from the media. I should say that it's all very important for Ukraine. But of course, the declaration that I signed recently, the Kyiv Declaration, says even about more support that should be provided to Ukraine. And there's 6 points in that declaration saying that we need more weaponry, we need more weapons, we need more safe zones, safe spaces for the civilian population. We need more sanctions against Russian Federation, and particular Putin's allies and Putin himself, in order to make them feel that the war that they are making, it will not go unpunished. And of course, which is very important, I think, is that we need equipment and instruments in order to make effective documenting of the war crimes that are ongoing now in Ukraine. And I should say that Ukrainian civil society, and I was a part of civil society recently. Recently, I shifted just 1 month ago to the governmental work. So we've been working a lot with documenting human rights abuses throughout the 8 years. And we are really experiencing that. But of course, if there's any equipment and any tools that will help us to make it more effective, because now these violations are everywhere and in the large scales, and it's really hard to track them all. So we would appreciate that assistance.
And you mentioned war crimes. Is evidence being collected to justify that claim?
Yes, of course, I'm saying about facts that could amount to war crimes, just to be very precise, of course. And yes, these facts are collected by the joint group of Ukrainian NGOs and governmental institutions. So, and I have to explain that it's really hard because the events are so intense. So many events are on the ground, so many shellings, so many killings, and we know that the numbers of the killed civilians, including children, are quite big. So now we're just dealing, and our colleagues are dealing with collecting the facts that may in future amount to war crimes. But as of now, we can see definitely that there is targeting of civilians, that there are indiscriminative shellings of the civilian objects, of the civilian infrastructure, and people are used as live shields. That is the practice that was used by Russia also in Crimea back in 2014. That is something that we've seen already, and in Donbass as well. So all that. In future, of course, we need to collect this information to cross-check it, and that's something that is being done by the government and by NGOs. And after that, it will be. I apologize for the sound. It will be applied and submitted to the international court institutions.
Finally, Maria, how optimistic are you that the talks that are underway today could de-escalate the crisis and could provide some good news for your country?
Of course, I hope. I should say that, of course, it's a political level. It's a high political level. But I think that one of the most important things that has happened in the recent days is that Ukraine started to believe and to support the government, in particular President Zelensky. It's not just because the war started, but because he demonstrated a real leadership. And as for me personally, I trust to the government and to Zelensky. I do understand that he follows the best interest of my country and the people of this country. And of course, we all hope that the war will be stopped. But of course, this should be done not on the cost of the freedom of Ukraine, of our independence, of our democratic values and liberal values. So that's the point. And that's something that Putin will try to contradict.
Maria Tomak, really interesting to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Stay safe.